keynote speaker, Lo Lee, is the Vice President and Head of Technology for Spanx. She has spent the past 2 decades leading global multi-billion-dollar corporations for some of the world's most renowned hospitality and retail brands, working with hundreds of teams dispersed in the UK, China, Singapore, and India. Some of her work includes the creation for dynamic pricing and predictive analytics engines for all of IHG's 5,000 global hotels, scaling big data and Agile to enable business transformation at large retailers, including a double-digit growth plan for Spanx Digital and international presence. She brings a deep understanding of how to translate corporate visions and strategies into simple, elegant solutions using her international business acumen and technology background as both a business enabler and a competitive differentiator. Lo Lee is multilingual, fluent in Mandarin, Portuguese, Spanish, English, and is the recipient of several industry accolades, including Woman of the Year 2018, Woman of the Year honoree 2011, Stevie's Businesswoman of the Year Award 2011, and IHG's Global Technologist of the Year 2010. Lo Lee received a bachelor's and a master's from the University of Georgia and serves on the board of directors for several national nonprofit organizations. Please welcome Lo Lee.
Thank you so much. It's just a pleasure to be here. And I love all of my speech writers and my biography writers because I often listen to it and I'm like, who are they talking about? I'm not really sure. That sounds like a cool chick. I'm very excited to be here. And I was especially jazzed when I watched an introductory video that was sent to me about a month ago. I mean, think about it. There was a time in our lives as data scientists, as technologists, that we really weren't that cool. I mean, certainly I never imagined Leonardo DiCaprio having any interest in what I was doing, and look at how full circle we have come. So that's precisely why I called Amelia after I saw the video, and I was like, hey, I just, love the video. I'm so jazzed. I can't wait for this opportunity. But I just want to make sure you saw my profile because I did spend 20 years of my life either putting heads in beds in a hotel company, and most recently I help women look really, really good with their rears under their clothes. Are you really sure? Are you really sure this is what you're looking for? I mean, our tagline is, don't worry, we've got your butt covered. I hope I can say but. I know this is being recorded, right? And we laughed about it and we joked. But the truth is, there's a theme to my career in the last 20 years in technology and data science is the data, right? The data fabric that weaves through our organizations, through our growth, through disruption is essentially what brings us all together, which makes us love what we do. So whether that is putting nice pants in women, or hotels, or transportation, or healthcare, or technology, this is why we are here, and this is why we believe in what we do. So I will say, just a call out to I see my colleagues from my IHG family. Even though I cannot cure cancer, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express over 15 years. So hopefully you lend me your ear this morning. And what I like to do this morning is to talk you through some of the reasons why I think the fourth industrial revolution are in different stages in different organizations. Some are in the very, very infant stages, whereas others are far well into their journey. And there are 3 themes that I think weaves onto why some are just kind of stunted in their growth and perhaps haven't completely taken a deep dive into this journey. So we hear only those questions for which we are in a position to find answers. And I love that quote, and I share that a lot with my technology teams, because if you're a data scientist that works with technology, that is probably how you feel most of the times. And technologists will vehemently deny it. Technologists, as you know, and most of your counterparts in technology will tell you that we spend the majority of our time and our lives in our interests in everything on the left. So that is gathering the data, creating a relational databases, reference data, data models, data governance. We create ETL jobs, we make sure they run, and we shove this data into these data marts. And we want the data scientists to go away and just go play in the data and stop talking to me. And for most of you, your technology partners probably don't spend a whole lot of time on unstructured data. So whether that is coming in from social media, as in the advent of digital, whether that is coming in from different media like geolocations, we from technology usually don't know what to do with that data, and certainly don't know how to create it in a way that is meaningful and then can be used and ingested throughout the organization. And what's really scary is that the majority of the disruption and the innovation in your industries, what will make you thrive or perish, is precisely in this unstructured data. So if we're going to look at the top 10 disruptors of 2018, most of you guys know all of these, right? The Ubers and the Airbnbs, they've spent most of their life and their existence in looking at the white space that the original masters of that industry had and owned, and went after it through the unstructured data and the innovation that they found in it. What I'd like to share with you are some of my favorite all-time quotes from all of the companies being disrupted. So we always hear from the disruptor, like, I'm just Airbnb, no big deal. I just knew I could take down all the hotel industries. But you never get to hear from the disrupted, right? And it's really comical. So I'll start with the CEO of Palm, Ed Colligan. When they asked him about Apple making iPhones, he said, we've learned and struggled for a few years here figuring out how to make a decent phone. PC guys are not going to just figure this out. They're not going to just walk in. Of course not. iPhones will never take off. Jim Keyes, CEO of Blockbuster, in 2008, he was speaking with a bunch of investors, which was probably the beginning of his downfall. And he said, neither Redbox nor Netflix are even on our radar screen in terms of competition. Very telling. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, in 2015, when they asked him about Bitcoin and how that's going to disrupt banking and what he plans on doing with it, he says, it's worse than tulip bulbs. It won't end well. Someone is going to get killed. Currencies have legal support. It will blow up. I don't know what he has against tulip bulbs, but that's how he felt about it. Steve Ballmer, in a court case with an employee who left Microsoft to go into Google, was really upset during the court case and says, no, listen, Google's not even a big deal. I mean, they're not even a real company. It's just a house of cards. Famous last words until they went on to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to figure out how to get Bing to work. Stan Shi, the chairman of Acer Inc. in 2010. I love his, by the way, this is my favorite quote. He is the most colorful technologist I've ever heard of. He says that Apple is like a mutant virus escaping from the traditional structure of the PC industry, but the industry will still eventually build up immunity and just attack the virus. And not to be undone, so we talk about disruptors being in the very, very last recent century. Actually, in 1964, there was a Class A interesting man, Mr. Daryl Zanuck, who, when they asked him about the television set, right, and television sets were showing up in households, and he was the chairman of 20th Century Fox, said, television won't be able to hold on to any market capture after the first 6 months. People will soon get tired of staring at a plywood box every night. Makes you think about yourself, too. So anyway, so those are some of the very, very interesting quotes. And the reason why I share this with you is that if you don't spend your time in your business looking at the disruption that is coming at you, at the unstructured data that exists today, and use it to support your growth, you may be one of these quotes soon. So don't do that. All right, the second theme that I wanted to share with you is that I've worked with data scientists for many, many, many years in my life. And you either is one of these people or know one of these people that ultimately are always engaged in the battle of the tools. And there are the SAS people and the R people and the Python people, and my most favorite one are the Batmans and the Supermans. So by show of hand, how many of you guys identify yourselves as Batman? Mm-hmm. Yep, I see you. Superman? Yep, Superman. Okay, now I want you to raise your hand that you are 100% convinced, whether you're Batman or Superman, that if you engage in battle, your superpowers will take over your opponent. How confident are you? Some of you. I know you are. And what's interesting to me is that many organizations actually spend a whole lot of time having this very academic discussion around what is the best tool and what is the best language and how are we going to do it and how are we going to pivot. Oh my God, we have to rewrite all the models because now we are 0.005% inaccurate and our forecast is way off. And this is completely unacceptable. It's very interesting enough, Birchworks actually picked up this survey and figured out that, if people are so passionate about this, maybe we should just ask. So they surveyed about 2,000 data scientists. And what's really interesting, and I'll be happy to share with you guys, are the actual qualitative data, because not only did they respond, what is my preference, based on my years of experience in the workforce, but they also added all this commentary afterwards about, R should I? They have the worst libraries. So very, very interesting. But what they found out is that if you have between 0 and 5 years experience, you're likely prefer Python. 6 to 15, you're kind of even between all of those. And those with over 16 years of experience, you're more likely than not a SaaS person. So for those of you who didn't raise your hands about being Batman or Superman, I see you. I probably share the same years of experience as you, so I get you, it's okay. But the reason why I bring this up is, again, a lot of organizations spend way too much time having these conversations when, in fact, your focus, as you all know, needs to be on what is your business goal? What is the goal that we're trying to achieve? What is our mission? And work backwards from there and find the right tool. Starting from the tool and building a whole enterprise around that really seems like not a great use of energy. All right, so the third theme I want to share with you, and that's my favorite, is the bad I word. All of you know, after looking at this comic strip, that person in your organization. I know in 5 seconds, you can name that person. You look at it and go, oh my God, that's Paul. Oh God, that's Mary. It is that person that, irrespective of how much empirical evidence, all of your models, your forecasts, your variables, your data and reports, they will always look at it and go, that just seems high. I'm not sure why. Je ne sais quoi. It's just seems high. I'm not really sure. And of course, as a technologist and data scientist, you just want to lunge over and go, really? Look at all the work that I've done. And when this kind of tensions occurs in organizations, it really just ends up discrediting both parties and slows all of the growth down. So what's interesting about intuition and gut check, right, is that for many years, most scientists said, you can't measure that. That's just something that came up with evolution. As we were evolving and we were always going to the Serengeti to get whatever herbs, over time we figure out that when the stars are a certain way, a lion pops up. Therefore, our gut instinct says when there is a star and a certain formation, I'm just not going to go, and that's my instinct. And therefore, because of these patterns, we can't really measure it. So Dr. Joe Pearson from University of South Wales in 2017 says, I want to challenge that. I want to try to measure intuition and gut check. So he grabbed 2,000 folks in Australia, put them in a room, and went through this study with them. And each one of them were given 20 minutes in a dark room, that a screen just like that, and held these dots, black dots that would move left and right, ever so slightly, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, but tons and tons of dots. So much data that they had to rely on their gut instinct at the end of the study to say whether or not the dots were moving left or right. But he didn't stop there. He was a tricky man. You see, what he did too is that as the subjects were staring forward into the screen, he had these flashing images on the right or on the left. But they were so fast that the rational brain did not know what was happening. They were just having these images pop up. So on the right side, they had a picture of a really cute puppy. It was so cute. And it was very positive and, gave you all these warm and fuzzy feelings. And the left side was danger. There were guns and snakes and really scary negative things. So at the end of the study, what he found out is that those that were given positive messages with cute puppies and babies felt like their guesses were better. They were more confident about their gut instinct and intuition and felt confident about the answer that they had to give. And those that were presented really nasty pictures and scary danger pictures either couldn't respond and say, listen, I don't know. They were just moving. I can't tell you left or right. Or those that did respond reported that they felt really, really not confident about their response. And I really like this study because it goes to prove that there are ways in which human intuition and gut instincts can actually be measured. And I think as technologists and data scientists, when we are at a crossboard, we do have a culture change and we're shifting towards the fourth industrial revolution. And you are working with people who rely very heavily on their instincts and guts to move the business forward. I'd like to challenge you to think about what are some of the ways in which you could influence that. whether that is through flashing pictures of cute puppies or understanding where they're coming from, it is likely a very good chance that you can help move the needle if you're just able to focus and help move that. So, those are my 3 findings. Thank you for spending the morning with me and listening to me. And I hope you guys have a wonderful conference. You have an amazing lineup of speakers coming up. So thank you.